I'm Dana Denha, and you're watching FYI. Many of us search for that fitness alternative that doesn't feel like exercise. There's one local expert incorporating her culture to strengthen bodies and minds. Pradeepa Ryasam is using her knowledge of yoga, dance, and India's entertainment business to bring Bollywood Fitness to Washtenaw County.
I was born and brought up in India, and as a kid my mom took me to so many types of dance lessons, and I took up traditional or the classical style of Indian dance. But when it comes to Bollywood music, I can just play a song on the audio and just bring out the fun, and it's more upbeat music.
Pradeepa has her own take on Bollywood, incorporating this technique into a fitness routine.
So traditional Bollywood dance is probably something that is choreographed and sequenced and practiced. But when it comes to Bollywood fitness, it's just a way to work out. So the focus is mostly on not the choreography. And I keep changing the steps with the mood and the melody of the group, but we're predominantly working on the fitness portion of it. So, and I'm a yoga teacher as well, so I know what muscles to work out. So in my moves, I make sure from head to toe, everything is moving, and that's just to bring some fitness aspect to it.
For more on the wellness journey Pradeepa is providing the community, visit ayurveda.org. In today's technology-ridden world, it's easy to get distracted from your task at hand. But when you're driving, your concentration should be on the road and not on your device. Get the facts on distracted driving in this month's City Roundup in 60.
Hi, I'm Sergeant Bill Clock, the Edinburgh Police Special Services Section. I'm here to talk a little bit about distracted driving. Texting while driving does increase your stopping distance, so it's going to actually take you a whole lot longer to stop. Nationally, in 2016, there was 3,500 people killed in distracted driving collisions. And in 2016, here in Michigan alone, there's 43 fatalities and about 13,000 traffic crashes resulting from distracted driving incidents. Michigan Vehicle Code does prohibit sending a text message, reading a text message, or manually typing a text message. So please keep your eyes on the road, put the cell phone down, and be safe out there.
Works of art can affect people in many ways. It can bring forgotten memories to the forefront or create a shared experience. Outside of one of our local Potbelly sandwich shops, many can identify with a new mural depicting life in Ann Arbor. Joining me is mural artist Mathew Sharum and Melissa Gumenick, Associate Director of Business Development for Oxford Companies. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
First, I would like to talk with you, Melissa, about why Oxford has decided to, brighten up Ann Arbor with art and murals.
Well, Dana, actually, there's two reasons. The first one is Jeff Helpman, our CEO, grew up in a household with art hanging on the walls. His Aunt Susan is a nationally recognized artist, and you'll find many of her pieces hanging in our office and in his home. So he's always felt that there's quite a bit of value in art. So that was one way he could contribute to the community that has been his home for most of his life. And the second reason is Oxford Companies has a great presence in Ann Arbor. We have lots of buildings throughout the community, and so our presence has an impact. So not only do we want to provide the customer service to our tenants and their customers, but in doing so, by providing public art, we're enhancing their experience. We're enhancing the experience of our tenants, of their customers, of the visitors, and they're helping them enjoy a visit to the building. It's not just about the spaces inside, but about your walk up to the building and in the neighborhood. And that's really important to our culture and our values.
How long has Oxford been incorporating art into the downtown?
We have a mural, was finished in 2015. It's on South 5th Street, where our office is located, right by Afternoon Delight at Liberty and 5th. And that was completed by local artist named Kathy Endren back in 2015, like I said. And it had such an impact. We've enjoyed it so much, and I think a lot of people of Ann Arbor have enjoyed it. So this is going to be something we do going forward. You're going to see more and more public art, especially Going into the south side, we have a lot of buildings on the south side, so I think in the future you'll see even more contributions to public art using local artists, whether it be sculpture or murals. So that's the plan.
So in the last 5 years, how many pieces has Oxford contributed to the downtown? And maybe what's one of the ones that's, besides Mathew's, which we're going to talk about in a minute, that maybe you guys are really proud of?
Well, we are really proud of the one on South Fifth. It's called Enduring Roots, and it was celebrating the city life, and the life of Ann Arbor. And as does the one that Mathew has created for us so incredibly well. And so those are the two right now. We also do things such as, curb appeal. We want our buildings to be in good condition. We plant beautiful flowers and trees, and that also adds to the experience. But as far as public art, the 2015 mural, which again, if you haven't checked it out, please do. It's breathtaking. It really adds color and depth to the neighborhood. And again, we've been trying to do murals. It's a process. We want to find the right artist. The timing has to be right. The wall has to be, and we want it to be a place where a lot of public will see it. So we're always in search of, it's like an ongoing process. What can we do next? And that will be, that's where we are now. What can we do next?
That's a great attitude to have. Mathew, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself and what sort of led you to being a mural artist, maybe some of your inspiration?
I'd say when I was very young, I loved Bob Ross. I loved how he could get so much detail with just little knife stroke, And again, when I was in my teens, the artist Weiland, who paints the big whales, he went to my high school. I got to watch him paint one. That kind of really brought my focus to that. I loved the idea of painting something really big. So yeah, I went to college for a little while, but couldn't quite get the hang of it. So I went to California, and there I apprenticed for a muralist who was already established, and he painted big murals. And I worked with him for about 5 years. And after that, I just missed Michigan. I just had to come back, I kind of understood people here a little bit better.
So how has your work as an artist changed since you've been back in Michigan?
How's work as an artist changed?
Are you able to work a lot as an artist here as you were there, or?
Yeah, it's my full-time job. I will say occasionally in the winter, things tend to get a little bit slow for exterior artwork, but I can fill that time with portraits, canvas paintings, and things like that.
So you're a man of many talents. It's not just about doing large-scale murals.
Correct, yes. I also make signage, large signs, lettering, all kinds of stuff. Logos, yeah.
So what kind of mediums are you working with? Because you said that sun right behind you you created for your wife. Is that metal? Like, are you using all kinds of different materials? And
for exteriors, I like to use what's called ACM, aluminum composite material. It's very thin sheet of thermoplastic, 2 pieces of aluminum. It's very durable for exteriors. It doesn't warp, rust. It's usually used for signage. But with that, I'll use exterior house paint. So that's already very durable for the weather, the rain, the sun. And then, of course, finishing it up with a clear coat, that just makes it more UV resistant. So everything that I paint for exteriors is very durable, and it lasts a very long time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Melissa, why don't you tell us a little bit about Oxford's criteria for picking an artist for one of our buildings in the downtown?
Sure. Well, we wanted to find a local artist because, again, we like to celebrate and support the local art community. That's very important to us. Ideally, we would have an artist that has experience with a mural, although that wasn't, totally necessary because that for our mural on South Fifth, that was that artist's very first mural. She did an excellent job. But Mathew had quite extensive experience with murals. But the third, honestly, was what pieces talked to us. Which artist created a piece, was inventive with the theme that we gave them to work with, which was the convergence of town and gown. And across the board, unanimously, the panel and the art consultant we worked with, we all liked Mathew's the best. Hands down, there was no question. So it was like which piece spoke to us, and we all said that his did. So,
well, on that, before we delve any deeper into the Potbelly mural, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with more from Melissa and Mathew and the mural that's turning heads in the downtown. And we're back with Mathew and Melissa. And Mathew, I'd like to talk to you now about, getting that theme and then coming up with your idea. And can you explain what your idea is?
Yeah. So I have a lot of ideas in my head, and I do work best with other people's ideas. When someone gives me a theme, pardon the airplane, someone gives me an idea, I'm able to take that and run with it. So when they said convergence of city life and school life, just the word convergence immediately put the image in my head of two walls converging together. And I thought, why not make a painting about two paintings coming together? And once again, I saw the alley, and I thought, people like to stand in front of a painting, but you can get more viewers if you look at it from this angle. And I know everybody knows those sidewalk drawings where it's like an optical illusion. Have you ever seen those? They're all over the internet.
Yeah, where you feel like you could just walk or jump right into it. Yeah.
Right. So I thought, well, wouldn't that be neat to have something that you could see from all the way across the street? You didn't have to go into the alley to see it. And I just kind of started with that and found all the images that I thought applied. But of course, it's a back and forth between me and Melissa and her team of customizing it and making it exactly what they want.
Mathew, tell me about, you talked about you were from Michigan and then you moved to California and then back again. But what made you be able to just really relate with this theme and create something that we can all sort of relate to as Ann Arborites and Michiganders?
It just involves a lot of research. Whenever I get an RFQ, an RFP, I start just reading all about the town. I mean, I already kind of knew a lot about Ann Arbor. I lived in Ypsilanti. That's where I went to school. But yeah, you just kind of spend time, hours and hours, just kind of Googling and looking and reading and finding out what's important to them, and the school life and the city life and the nightlife and all that. And it kind of creates a cloud of images in my head, and it kind of comes together eventually,
Yeah. Well, Melissa, where is this mural located exactly? So for those of us that want to go check it out in person.
Okay, well, the mural is located behind the building at the corner of Liberty and State, where the Potbellies is located. You remember the infamous or the famous writer's mural, which is along Liberty Street. It's just around the corner on the same building in the alleyway behind the Potbellies building.
Okay. So something for both of you, why do you both feel like public art is necessary and how it transforms a city into a destination?
A lot of reasons. Like I said, as a company that manages and owns buildings in a city, we have a responsibility to contribute to the life, culture of that city that we're in. We can't, it's not just about leasing space, it's about connecting with the people who experience and are around our buildings, and that's very important. But public art specifically is, people should not have to go to a museum to enjoy art. Reminds us that art should be and it is accessible to everyone. And when we are reminded of what it feels like to experience art, we remember to value the artists in our community and the art that they create, so that there's never an issue about investment in art, because it really just enhances our lives.
It really does. Mathew?
Yeah, public art, it allows people to use their imaginations. It encourages them to more deeply understand their environment where they live. It stimulates learning about the interconnectedness of everyone around them. Mary Thiefels, she runs Tree Town Murals. She's got a great line on her website, and she likes to say, your public art becomes a symbol of your community by defining the views and the goals and the attitudes of the residents and viewers. I like the idea that, yes, not everybody goes to a museum, but when you have enough public art, it's like you're walking around in a museum. Nothing looks as good as when you see something in real life. You can see pictures of great artists all day, but you got to see it in real life. It just doesn't, do it justice to look at an image.
I'm sure it's a completely different experience. It's much more
Yeah.
immersive, and it really gets you to thinking and gets you looking up close at things that you don't get to
Yeah.
see when you're just like looking online or wherever you might be looking.
Yeah, when you're up next to something so big, it gives you a great sense of scale, you know.
Yeah. So why should people come see your mural in the downtown before we go? I know it's like sell yourself to me.
Again, you have to see it in real life. You can see it from different angles when you see it in real life. You know, some people look at the image and they think that it's one thing, but then you start walking around it and you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that scooter was painted there.
Well,
It's just such a great illusion. When you look at an image, you're not sure how the illusion was made, but when you walk around it, then you start to understand it more.
completely. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So I sort of equate it to, if you see a picture of somebody's meal on social media, it might look pretty good, but you aren't there to smell it, you aren't there to taste it, you aren't there in the ambience and the atmosphere in which it exists. Go there, experience it, stand in front of it, like Mathew said, and really, in some ways the piece is very literal. There's images of institutions around town, but there's also an interpretation of what it means for us all to live together at that junction of city life and university life. For example, the city person reaching out to pull a student onto his side of the image, it evokes this feeling of community that, you can see it in a photograph, but when you stand there and look at it, it just creates a different experience.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to thank you both for coming on the show and sharing this Ann Arbor art story with me.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dana. Thanks, take care.
For more on this and other programs, visit a2gov.org/CTN. Visit youtube.com/CTN Ann Arbor to see all that we have to offer, and remember to like, comment, and share. Thanks for watching, and tune in next time to FYI.